Hi y'all, this is Kathy with KathyCraftsandMore. I'm so excited to show you this journal I've made. It's my first Christmas journal, it's my first Reader's Digest journal, and she's beautiful. I found the Reader's Digest at my local Salvation Army store and grabbed her up real quick because I looked at this cover and I said, that is the perfect Christmas cover. And it is. She turned out absolutely beautiful. Reader's Digest measures about 7.5 by 5.5, and it has a 1.5 inch spine, which I used this original spine. I just reinforced it and added some fabric. And she's got four signatures, and looking back, I think 3 signatures would have been plenty because she is thick. She definitely is decorated. I think there are ruffles and lace and charms and pockets and tags and vintage finds. She's full. She is full. I've tried to contain some of this girth with this black lace and red rickrack. Let's release her. But I will include that so you can tie her up or use it somewhere else. Let's see, I want to show you the dangle. I did make a removable dangle that I put on the front cover. It's made from items I used in the journal. There's red ribbon and red rickrack. This red lace seam binding came from a vintage package, 1983, that I opened for this project, and I've used almost all of it. There's some beads, a beaded dangle I made. This is part of a necklace. It's got red and green stones, the heart. There's a red jingle bell and this little red stone here. And this rhinestone disco ball, it looks like charm. But this dangle turned out really beautiful. Let's see there. And like I said, there's 4 signatures. I've tied each of them in with the 3-hole pamphlet stitch in embroidery thread. The signatures, the center strings have charms on them. I'll show you those as we go. But the journal itself is beautiful. I've added a nameplate on the front. It says Merry Christmas in gold. I'm not sure if you can see that or not, but that's what it says. Now let's open her up. Okay, so she starts with the very front has, let's show you. I kept the original hard cover paper in the front and the back. I've added fabric and lace for pockets to both the front and the back covers. I made a card, a journaling card, out of the original, I think that's called a nameplate page. I've made a card out of these player piano rolls that I found at an estate sale. I bought way too much of it. And I've been having a ball making tags and pages and things with it. But I think I'm going to list some on my Etsy page, my Etsy store, so look out for that. And then these charms went so nice with the journal. And this tag is one of the cut-aparts from the scrapbook paper collection I used. So if I use scrapbook paper, it came from the Holiday Spice by Recollections, which I love this paper. It's like thick, but it's one-sided, so I have stenciled on the back side of most of the pages. All right, so the first signature, I didn't tell you how many pages was in it. It's about 144 pages, front and back, with lots and lots of ephemera and tuck spots and everything. I didn't even count how much stuff I put in here. Look at this crochet applique here, it's beautiful. Okay, so the first signature starts with a little pocket here. The illustrations from this pocket, each of the signatures has an illustration and a pocket, and it came from the Christmas 1948 Cosmopolitan magazine. And I just love the graphics there. I made a tag with the piano roll, a little cluster and some stamping, a back-to-back with some coffee dye. This is black cardstock. Sewed all around, added this red plaid. I'm calling it Christmas plaid. And sewed around. Love this paper with the florals. On the back side, there's some red stamping in a dolly pattern. The belly band is a Christmas fabric snippet roll I did, and it has a snowflake applique on it and this little gold trim. Made a big journaling card, some bling, lots of writing space. So although this book is heavily decorated, there is space to write. Write or color, whatever you like to do. This page is from the book itself. It's volume 3, 1980, Reader's Digest. I reinforced it with washi tape and trimmed it in some lace, and that's sewed on with gold thread. The back side shows the copyright date. I've included cookbook pages. This one is from a McCall's Cookie Collection magazine from 1975. And it's got rolled cookies, vanilla cookies, raisin spice drops, old-fashioned sour cream cookies. There are coffee dyed paper, this pattern. This pattern came from when I was baking it in the oven on my pizza pan, and the little dots came through. I like the way that turned out. This is one of my favorite pages to do. All right, so it's scrapbook paper trimmed in a gold decorative stitch and coffee dyed paper that accordions out. You can write on the front and the back. I've added some trim and some, that's a beaded applique. And the lines on the paper came from the baking rack that I used. On the back there's some stenciling in green, coffee dyed paper, a piece cluster. This page is linen resume paper. Oops. And then I've used this paper from kindergarten or first grade writing tablet, and I love that the lines go the right direction. So for writing, this coffee dyed paper here, I've added a cluster with 2 vintage buttons and some ruffles. I offer these in my shop as well. And I've made a tag with the red cardstock. There's some gold sewing on the edges. And then it's backed with coffee dye paper. And white and red rickrack. Love the patterns this paper turned out. And the middle of the signature has some music paper. This one is from, oh, what is that, 12 Days of Christmas. And then I've tied 2 charms in them. It's in the center. One is a Christmas tree button, and then a little candy cane. I think I'll put these in the middle. Coffee dye paper and Christmas ruffles. I love this. I make these, and I offer them in my shop as well. There's some of that red seam binding. Each signature includes an envelope pocket. This one in the pocket has a fabric tag backed on cardstock. Has a piece of coffee dye paper. And you open this up to reveal more writing space. Nice. And then on this side, there are double pockets, joyful and blessed. This is more the scrapbook paper. And the tags, these tags were made from the piano roll. I backed them on cardstock, craft paper, so you can write on the back. And I left them unadorned so that they would slide easily in and out of the pockets. Yeah, I love this paper. More coffee dye. The other side to the cookie book. And this is the other Reader's Digest page that I used. This is actually 2 pages. I've glued them together because I really didn't like the illustrations for this book. There's washi tape and lace. And then on the other side, it shows what was in the book. There's a triangle fold up, and 2 journaling cards from the scrapbook paper collection. We have a fabric flip. These are fabrics that I use throughout the book. Some lace and some red stenciling. There's sewing. And then on the backs of the first signature, I have a paper clip that I've twisted and added some lace to. Little 3-fold journaling card. Second signature, some more of the illustration and the pocket. This is the scrapbook paper. And a 3-fold card with some ruffles and gold. And on the other side, I have stenciling. I have a triangle fold. It's a recipe card. This came from the scrapbook paper. And this is one of my tea cards I picked up somewhere. I think it's a reproduction, but it's still, I think, 80s, maybe 90s. This paper is tea dyed. I haven't tea dyed paper in a long time. Need to do some more. Let's see, this signature has this cookbook page, cream cheese icing, honey cake, more of that linen resume paper, Now this is a fun page. We've got a fold out. Plenty of writing. I've trimmed it in lace. And this little flag with the button. And there's a tuck spot under. It's a recipe card. Some bread trim. On the other side, there's a pocket from the snippet roll. I love this. And Santa. Inside the pocket, I've added a vintage postcard. And just some fun paper you can write on. And it's stenciled. In this coffee dyed paper, I added some vintage eyelet trim. And another recipe book. This one had like stories in it and poems. It's pretty cool. And I picked this up, I think the same day from that Salvation Army store. It was a whole bag of these cards. And I think this is perfect for Christmas with the little cherry cookies. I've attached that with the twisted paper clip. And there's a little jingle bell, a jingle bell charm. And, oops, let's put you back. I'm gonna put you back crooked, upside down. And there's a piece of paper for journaling. This is Christmas stationery. Music paper for this middle. And the charms, Merry Christmas, and a little package button. Let's put it in the middle. The other side of the stationery, and I've stamped on it. A little fold out. Some red birds, as you need red birds at Christmas. Recipe, things you just can't do. Sow bad habits and reap good character. And there's some Christmas ruffles here, a decorative stitch. If you're interested in those, check out my Etsy shop because I have some of those available still. Belly band, this is the same fabric that's on the spine. Added some lace and bling. Big old card, stenciling, and stamping too. So it opens up, so there's lots of space to write. On the other side, there's one of those flip ups. I love doing these. They add hidden spaces for journaling and then places to tuck. Christmas fabric and rickrack. And some more of that linen paper. The other side to the recipe book. Tea paper. This one's grandmother's special pie crust. Each signature I put an envelope pocket in. This one has a little red tag. More stenciling. And this card, paper clip first, twisted paper clip with lace. And then the card, I was playing with my Big Shot embosser. And then I inked over it, and it turned out pretty cool. I like that with the deer, and then there's deer paper, deer on the scrapbook paper. So I thought that turned out pretty nice. Third signature, big pocket with the illustration from that magazine. And then inside, this is an illustration from, let's see, from a book, 1955. Illustrated Treasury of Children's Literature. And I am taking the illustrations from that and making tags, and I think those turned out nice with some ruffles, sewed around the edges, added some lines. Just reminds me of going to Grandma's house at Christmas. And there's a fabric and lace pocket, and there's a tag from the scrapbook paper collection, and a joy charm, Cracker Jack. So I saved this this front of the Cracker Jack box from last Halloween, I think. And then I've made a tag with it, backed it on some coffee dye paper so you can write on it. Another cookie recipe. Coffee dye paper. This is some crochet lace. Excuse me. And I've made a little tuck spot with that. You've got a book page from one of those calendar books. You are loved so much more than you know. This card I've sewed around and inked, added a little pocket and a couple little cards. All of that's from the scrapbook collection. This is a vintage postcard, Winter in the Country. That is so pretty. Just clipped in with a paper clip. Then I've twisted and added some trim to. More of that stationery. I love this page all by itself. And then on the back there's 3 pockets. Let me move that now. And I've added bunch of little tags. These are coffee dyed. Tickets. A fabric tag I've sewed. And 3 of these little tags from the collection. I just thought they looked so pretty there. And there's some music paper, coffee dye paper. In the center of this signature has some of that homemade paper, handmade paper. It's got like leaves and seeds and things in it. We got a candy cane and a little angel. More ruffles. I've added ruffles everywhere. And this envelope fold out. It's got the button trim and poinsettias. Inside the pocket is another fabric tag and a piece of coffee dye paper for journaling. Oops. And more stenciling. Red birds. Paper clip with a jingle bell charm. What's it holding on? That's the Winter Fairy from a children's card game. And coffee dye paper, I love that. I think that was tickets I just laid on there to dry, to bake. And yep, and it looks pretty cool. Other side, the recipe. Another fold up, tuck spot. Added some trim and a Christmas tree button to this one. I love this stenciling. You can write on that. And then another paper clip and waterfall paper. These are coffee dyed paper I just had left over and made it into a little notebook. Not a notebook, or maybe a notebook. Not sure which call it. The fourth and final signature is a pocket, friends and family. And a belly band. Let me bring this book back out. Inside the belly band, there's an illustration from that 1948 Christmas magazine to remind you to relax after Christmas. And I've sewed around and added more ruffles, some green stenciling. This is I guess it's a journaling spot, index card, recipe card, whatever you want to use it for. Coffee dye paper. Other side to that recipe. Oh no, different recipe. This one's plum tarts. I love this trim. Reminds me of weddings, wedding dresses. And on this page we have a fabric cluster with vintage buttons and ruffles. I've made a card from a Tim Holtz flowers. I think it looks like a Christmas rose. And then a Rolodex card. It's original. So there's sewing all around. Lots of sewing in this book. And I've stenciled on the back and added coffee dye paper for journaling spot and a little cluster. This recipe cookbook has more of those little poems and things in it. Tea dye paper, music paper. And these charms, we have a Noel and a little red mitten button. Ruffles. Other side to the recipe book. Scallop potatoes. See, this pocket has some of that handmade paper and coffee dye paper. Little green buttons and bows. And it's so beautiful, this whole book. Just turned out so well. This pocket with the jeweled trim and the ruffles. There are fabric tag, a little card with a snowflake. And then these both came from two different autograph books. They're blank, lots of place for writing. This one is so fragile, it's already started to crack when I folded it. It looks so pretty here. Oops, fold down. I love the graphics in that book. Banana cake. Coffee dye. I'm almost out of frame. Sorry. Double pockets with poinsettia leaves. I love that. And there's some lace. This is vintage ruffles that I've done in a red trim. Some green stenciling with my dolly stencil. And then there's a paper clip, twisted paper clip. And this is a card I was playing with my Big Shot and the die cutting part. And I've sewed around, all around, and added some lines. And signed it. The back page, back cover has the double pockets. We have a piece of paper that I embossed. Really can't write on it, but I love the feel of it. There's a bookmark and a vintage flashcard. Just a little something something there in the pocket. So this journal, she was fun to make. I really enjoyed making this journal. The Reader's Digest are just special. And again, I don't remember if I told you, 144 pages thereabout. Lots of trim, lots of sewing, charms. She's gorgeous. I'm going to list her in my Etsy shop, and I will post the link in the description. I hope you enjoy. Please leave me a like and or a comment. I'd appreciate it. I appreciate your kind comments all the time. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope your season is blessed. Bye.